Welcome back, everybody, to Hoops HD's
Woohoo!
ongoing 2025-2026 season previews. And one of our favorite shows of the year, it is time for our Under the Radar preview. Special Under the Radar graphics, even. Griggs, check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty sharp. And again, I love that photo. I was mistaken. I thought the art department put this together. You corrected me. That is a photograph in the
Yes.
middle there. That is an actual. Someone took that picture of an actual basketball court.
It looks exactly like that, yes.
Yes.
Let me pull this back down here. I'm your host, Chad Sherwood. David Griggs over there. Rocco Miller joining us from Bracketeer.org. And if you go up there on the top of the website to our season preview tab, you can check out all the podcasts we've done for all of the power conferences, as well as last night we hit the American, the Atlantic 10, the Mountain West, the West Coast Conference. I think we've done 9 conferences so far,
Yep.
22 to go, and we're going to do all 22 of them tonight over the next 22 hours.
Yeah. And if you're new to
Perfect.
Hoops HD, or yeah, we're going to spend about an hour on each conference. If you're new to Hoops HD, or even if you're not new, if you weren't here in the beginning, uh, this was something that we wanted to do when we started the website, the under the radar focus and coverage. And it really was sort of the first podcast that started to get double digit viewers. And it's still, all kidding aside, one of my favorites to do every week. I
And
love it.
we're still
Yeah.
probably getting close to double-digit viewers.
Yeah, yeah, still double digit viewers every, yeah.
No, but yeah, I think this was one of the first podcast I ever hosted was our regular season Under the Radar shows. We'll be doing
Yeah.
one every week. I don't think we do one the first week of the season, but after that we'll do one every week until championship week. But
Hmm.
we're going to preview all 22 conferences. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So if you're here and you just want to hear our Summit League preview, well, we'd encourage you to listen to the rest of it. Go ahead and fast forward about, 20 hours ahead down
Yeah.
on the YouTube stream here or something like
Hmm.
that. But in all seriousness, why don't we use this screen share here tonight too, and just so we get some league standings up here. So, unlike other conferences, people may not exactly remember who's in each of these leagues,
Including me. So
including Greg. So we'll go ahead and use our screen share here. We'll even be able to see here some of the upcoming games for the first week of the season, though.
yeah.
But
And
we are
those rankings are current. That is not a mistake. Albany, Binghamton, all tied for first place in the net and the web.
You do see there, those are the preceding ratings in the JNG column, the Ken Palm column, and the Torvik column. So those are the preseason ratings. This is the America East Conference that we're going to start things off with. And uh, Rocco, before we even started the show, we talked about how Vermont had a pair of lost a not to a non D1 team in an exhibition game, had a scare last night from a second non D1 team. Yet a lot of people are still picking them to win the conference. Are you?
Yeah, I'll stick with the pick. There's not enough there to know. I do know that I think it was TJ Long missed the first of those two, and then he played yesterday and had 34 of the points, and they only scored around 60. So there's like multiple layers of concern there. One, health wise. Two, okay, he's obviously fine scoring that many points, but why are they leaning on him that much in an exhibition game? Or maybe it was to test him to see if he could handle that kind of workload. You just don't know with exhibition games. So benefit of the doubt there. Obviously, both TJs are tremendous, Long and Hurley. Weapons across the floor. I think the big question for Vermont is what happens in the front court. Ben Johnson's also a good supplementary experienced grad transfer guard from Bellarmine. Adds some juice there. So backcourt, they're tremendous. But this guy David Simon from San Diego lost a lot of games under Steve Lavin at San Diego. Jackson Skipper, front court transfer from Oral Roberts, lost a ton of games the last couple of years too. And then you have Troy Woodyard coming in. He's more of a slasher, 6'3", or sorry, like a 3 or 4 position, but also come from New Hampshire, one of the worst teams in the country in this
Those are
league.
yeah, those are three of the worst.
So
Like,
you're
those are
Plus
so you're
Bellarmine.
generic.
saying they're all due.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm saying if anybody can turn them into a winner, it's the 6-time America East Coach of the Year, John Becker, and he has the award named after him. In Becker we trust.
And Becker, we trust. Griggs, there's another big story here, though, and that is the team that has Cooper Flagg's brother Ace on it,
Yeah,
and was a great
Yes.
story last year.
they
How
were.
about them looking for their first bid ever? How about the Maine Black Bears?
Well, they're my sentimental favorite, but
Mm.
I need to say that they're my sentimental favorite. It was a great story last year, and it was a lot of fun. Maine has not only not had success on the national level, of course, they hadn't even had success on the America East level. I think they finished last or next to last, seemingly more than half the time. So to see them have the kind of year that they had last year, finishing in the top half of the standings, and not only that, being able to build upon that and looking like they might be the second best team in the conference. I think they're a distant second. I, for one, am not alarmed by exhibition game results. Larry Bird once played a game allegedly or left-handed just to see if he could do it. I think a lot of teams go into exhibition games and, figuratively speaking, play left-handed. They work on things that they want to get better at. They don't go to their strengths. This isn't under the radar. I just watched 5 to 10 minutes of Kentucky do absolutely nothing that they're going to be doing during the regular season defensively and offensively. I didn't see the games against Vermont. Maybe Rocco did, but I just
No.
don't put any credence at all into exhibition results because I don't want to go so far and say coaches don't want to win them, but they don't really care.
Other than Danny Hurley, that's
Yeah,
also not under the
yeah,
radar.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, Rocco, is there anybody else to take a serious look at to be contending this conference other than maybe Vermont and Maine? Because I personally, I think there's a big drop off after those first two.
Well, I think the big mystery team is the Bryant Bulldogs. Jamion Christian's had a lot of success at multiple stops in Division One. He just coached in the, I believe it was Greece Championship Finals, so he wasn't able to move in to Smithfield, Rhode Island until early July because those playoffs in Greece went deep into June. I was talking to him over WhatsApp. I've gotten to know Jamion, and the roster, besides a few guys, are a total mystery. Like Keegan Harvey didn't really get to play at George Washington, but we know he was like A10, good enough to be on an A10 team at 6'11". That could be dangerous in the America East or not. Quincy Allen played for Chicago State, good player at Chicago State, but he's a little step up here to the America East. And then they got a guy, Leonard Weber, who is also a grad transfer, played in a Canadian league, which Canadian college leagues, you just have no idea. They could be far worse than our Division One, or they might actually have a few programs that would be really good in our Division One in some of these under the radar leagues. And he had great numbers. So if it turns out that Weber's really good, plus they have high hopes for Ja'Kai Robinson, who is one of the guys who stayed. They have a boatload of freshmen, including the projected point guard Ty Tabalis, who I think for America East standards is highly touted. I mean, literally, this is like him just picking up a team in Europe and starting fresh. So, and they might be more talented. They might be one of the worst teams in the league. I just know that Bryant was in the NCAA tournament last year, and I feel like resource wise, they're the second best school in the league behind Vermont. And you can't write. They might be the best team this year. We just don't
Reese,
know.
Rocco, I must correct you. Have you not seen Maine's baseline? That is a beautiful resource.
That was
That is
actually that
true.
not at their
Every, I
actual
still
living.
give
That
them
was at one
credit
of their
for it. That was
Yeah,
games at the
incredible.
Maine.
Cross Center. But
Yeah,
Maine is investing more and more by the day, for sure.
yeah.
but let's
Maine has no resources.
um, just a quick note as we go through these conferences as you guys address them. If we do feel there's a team that actually could get inside the bubble, actually be eligible for an at-large bid, feel free to bring that up. We're not going to discuss that in the America
Oh,
East. We may not discuss that
sad.
all night, but
Yeah,
but there
We're
may
in
be
the
one or
rough.
two we get to later on.
maybe one.
But yeah, no matter how much we love these conferences, most, if not all, of these conferences are going to be single bid leagues this year, as they were all last year. Um,
Yeah, a lot of excitement for UMBC. Just played Maryland to 1 point loss, and they fixed their height problem. They were the shortest team in Division One last year, and now they have a couple guys that are over 6'10". I think they should be much improved.
Okay.
let's move on to the A Sun Conference though, and here we go. That team in red, by the way, West Georgia. Red means that they're not eligible for the NCAA tournament. They are still in their 3 year transitional period. Uh, but Griggs, let me start with you on this league. Ask the question: who's the best team in it?
Queens was the preseason favorite at Media Day. The team I really like is Eastern Kentucky. I think A.W. Hamilton's a real good coach. I thought that they hit a straight. There was a stretch in last year's season while they were up and down where they won 8 straight, and I just think that their experience there improved. Juan Crawford was a quality player at St. Francis, although St. Francis was not a quality team. He was a pretty good player, and I really like Amar Knox. He was on Alabama State. You remember they were in the NCAA tournament and actually won a first four game. In addition to some of the players that they have coming back, I I think that offensively they can score with anybody. I think shot 1,000,000% in their exhibition game the other night or something like that. It seemed like they just couldn't miss. And they go deep into their bench. I think in a league like this, that's going to give them uh, a sort of an advantage. I just really like this Hilltoppers team. There's other good stories. Queens is fun. God, would imagine how much fun that would be if they won the league. And North Alabama has just been for a recent transition program that had no basketball culture or history whatsoever to see what they were last year and how like it just energized that whole campus. That was great. I'll say this, Chad. I'm more excited about the ASUN this year than I've been in a long time. I just think it's going to be fun with those three teams alone.
Yeah, Rocco, this Queens team with Chris Ashby there. I think there's a couple
Yeah.
other teams though, like Lipscomb even. There are seven
Mhm.
players back on the roster. What your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways you could go. I've got my eye on North Alabama. I just think how close they were last year to finally, breaking through and those really exciting home court games they had. Now
Oof.
the sad news is we go to Jacksonville where the new headquarters are for a neutral site tournament this year and in the future. I think it's a 3-year contract to start.
It was
Uh,
a moronic move.
Yes. However, in talking to several coaches in the league, and maybe this is them putting on the right statement, they are very excited to hang out in Jacksonville Beach during March. So I guess that's a consolation prize for not playing on campus. But Cornelius Williams and Dallas Howell are back as the front court staples. Cornelius Williams has a chance to be the ASUN Player of the Year, especially if North Alabama contends for the title once again. He averaged over 9 rebounds a game. His points per game should go up with no Jakari Lane and no Tay Fields anymore. So I think the real question for the Lions is the backcourt. Can guys like Bodie and Jefferson and Kovacevic can they all step up and play like winning basketball? Tony Pujols going to throw those junk zone defenses at you. And so North Alabama's got my attention, and I agree. Lipscomb shouldn't fall, or maybe they'll uphold where they were. Kevin Carroll was there before. He only went to Trevecca Nazarene for 2 years. Now he's back. So he's going to run similar stuff as Lenny Acuff. And there are some good pieces in a gigantic, front line with Aspen and Williams there, 6'11", 6'10", are big bodies in this league.
Yeah, I'll tell you another team. I don't really think this team is going to contend, but Jack Karasinski over there, Bellarmine, maybe one of the best players in the league as well. And what was that? They got Doug Davenport there as the head coach. I think that I don't think they're going to be there, but I think that they could be a team that maybe pulls off a few upsets over the course of this season. Kind of a dark horse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that,
And Austin
especially at home.
Yeah.
And again, silly exhibition comment here, but I was impressed that Austin P was handling Middle Tennessee by double digits yesterday. And it could mean absolutely nothing, but at least they have a pulse.
By the way, quick note: the very first game of the season will be involved this Queens team we just discussed. Rocco, you'll be there in Rock
Yes,
Hill at
At
8 a.m. on
8 a.m.
Monday.
yes,
And
I will.
and Queens, should they win that game, they will be the number one overall seed in David Griggs' seed list that he will be releasing at 10 a.m. on Monday.
Yes.
I don't think that's ever happened. First year eligible team being number one seed after the first game. Queens can actually pull it off.
Yeah.
Uh, but let's jump over to the Big Sky Conference next. Uh,
Oh yeah, this will be
as
fun.
we head a little out west here, Rocco, let me start with you here. There's a lot of teams to look at in this league as well, I think.
Oh my gosh, this league is ridiculous to try to figure out, right? Going into the year, all sorts of player movement, all sorts of perspectives, whether you look at an algorithm or you listen to the humans, either way you turn, no consistent answers are out there. So I think everybody's on their own for the Big Sky, no matter where you're from. I'm proud to be from the West, but I can't figure this league out going into the year. I guess you go with the gut feeling. It was interesting to me If you look at the Torvik rankings, for example, Northern Arizona comes in as the third best team. We know that they lose the big rebounder Carson Tout. He was historic, Big Sky rebounder. He moves up to high major. Same with McLaughlin. But after talking with the coach all summer, Shane Burkar, he says this team this year is even better in terms of chemistry. They play well together. They took down South Dakota in a scrimmage. I have zero idea what that means, except for it's a win of some kind. And then Idaho. Idaho is the other team I really like. I
How
have a
about yeah?
I have a good feeling about. I like this Colton Mitchell guy. He's still only a redshirt sophomore. I thought he had an awesome redshirt freshman year. And Idaho, I think, just from polling around the league, they might be them and Montana might be the most invested team, but that means Idaho's come all the way back from like the bottom of the league to really give themselves a chance.
Fascinating game to start the season too. There, Griggs, that I highlighted. Big rivalry.
Big rivalry, yes. This Idaho Wazoo rivalry,
Mm.
there's never been another rivalry like it. Can I just
Right.
give two quick statistics about this rivalry, Chad?
Go ahead.
Yeah, yes, the two schools are 8 miles apart. If you round up, the campuses are 7.7 miles apart. I just can't
Correct.
think of any other rivalry where the two schools are 8 miles apart, and they've never met, if you can believe this, in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. But
Those are
Griggs,
facts.
Griggs. Besides those facts, what do you think about the teams that Rocco mentioned? Anyone else that you're looking at?
I like Northern Colorado. If you
Right.
ask, I mean, I agree with Rocco that it's just sort of a hard league to figure out. And I'm not going to repeat what he just said, but like for all of the reasons he said, but like NoCo, they tied for first place last year. They won 25 total games. It were the runner up and in the championship game, and they returned some key pieces from a team that was really good. And while they also have quite a bit of youth, it's impressive looking youth to where it might be able to step in and contribute right away. I kind of like Northern Colorado in this league.
I like them. I think we can't
Yeah.
overlook Portland State either. The
Yeah,
Jalen Henderson, Terry Miller Jr. inside outside combo is. Uh, I mean, they got an inside and an outside guy, which is a
yeah,
lot of these teams don't have. May have only one or the other. Um, I also do like the Montana who Rocco mentioned, and of course they got a guy named Money on the team. How can you go against a team like
right.
that?
Yeah, and I mean Montana did break through last year. It's hard to win this one 2 years in a row. I
Mhm.
would like to. I would honestly like to see Northern Colorado break through. I think Smiley is the most underrated player developer in the country as a coach. Obviously, that's not necessarily tied to team success, but you look at what he did with Dalton Connect, of course, and St. Thomas. He's had some amazing, amazing individuals play 1 year at Northern Colorado and then just balloon into stars. You would love to see a guy like that finally taste the tournament.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to a Big South Conference, Griggs. Who do you like in the Big South here, which is going to include the Winthrop team that's going to be playing that very first game of the season against Queens?
I think High Point, High Point is
Yes.
one of maybe five or six under the radar programs that is really embracing and diving headfirst into the NIL transfer portal sort of era that we're in. And they've been the dominant team in the league the last couple years. I can see that continuing. While they did lose some key pieces, they got Rob Martin coming in from SEMO, Vincent Brady from
Yeah.
Missouri State, Scotty Wilson from Cal State Northridge, or Scotty Washington, excuse me, from Cal State Rice Northridge. All these guys put up big numbers. They won the Big South tournament. They won 29 games. I think they're going to run away from it again. I will say this, and I know I've said it before, and I don't like repeating myself, but in this transfer heavy era, it's I don't like to think of basketball as a plug and play sort of game, but I think it's at least for now become that. And while High Point has good looking pieces, will those pieces fit together? Like, are the Legos going to fit together to actually build something, or is it just going to be guys that get in each other's way? I don't know, but when you look at High Point's ability to rebuild their roster, no one else in the league can do it like they can. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rocco. Let me ask you also. I mean, if High Point does run into that problem that these guys just can't gel, I'd probably look at maybe something like a UNC Asheville after that, but I don't know where else you look.
Yeah, I think there's a three-pack below High Point ready to pounce if High Point slips up at all. And let's not forget, Klayman's in his first year as a head coach. He's got to have some growing pains. I think High Point would hope that all takes place in non-conference so they don't sacrifice any Big South merit. But Radford's the big story, I think, in the league. Zach Chu comes in with virtually no head coaching experience, but he was at SMU as the general manager, building rosters. He's got an NBA background. This is one of the great experiments in college basketball. We'll talk about another one when we get to the Metro Atlantic. But he,
Well, we had a good one last year, and the Horizon Link didn't quite work out. But
I have a little more faith in the examples this year. But Radford, you can just tell by some of the players that they were able to bring in. They are, I mean, I'm not saying they're High Point invested, but they're creeping up on them, no question. You get a guy like Brendan Rigsby who played a good amount of Big Ten basketball. Dennis Parker Jr. is like an ACC level starter. If he would have came back to the old NC State regime, now he comes over to Radford. You have a Clemson player in Del Jones, and I mean when these guys were committing, you're just like, how on earth is Radford getting all these guys? And I think you know the answer. So again, it's just like Greg said, it's a ton of Legos, but these are Legos with some extra pegs that maybe you can do more with. And so Radford's the most interesting team in the league based on that. And then I would also just say, and again, Asheville's the proven commodity. Morel is ready to move up, I think. 27 wins last year, 3 straight years with 21 wins or more. And Solomon should be the preseason Big South Player of the Year. I think he was. So they are definitely going to be the kind of the proven going to be there in March. Tough to get out against them. And then Winthrop. I think Winthrop, nice, a couple nice examples in the preseason for whatever that's worth, beating Georgia Southern. They have some playmakers. Prosser coach as well, and a couple transfers too from the Atlantic 10 with Alfonso Billups from VCU and Jacoy Hutchinson from GW that played quite a bit. So I think I think Winthrop's right there to make a move if any of the other three are to slip.
yeah, I can't agree more with you. I don't even know if there's more to say on this conference. I think you guys both nailed it. And I
I'm
guess
out
let's
on
just
Longwood though. I'm out on Longwood. I don't like the Longwood roster, and I'm a
yeah.
little sad about that because I like them being in the mix.
Yeah,
It's fun when they're good.
I
Oh
don't think
man.
we're going to have any very good Winthrop Longwood matchups in the world famous Winwood Cup this year.
Yeah. Forget about that.
Let's
Oh,
Rocco, let me stick with you because I know it's one of your favorite conferences, the
it's
Big West up next.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
and I think this may be the first conference where we talk about teams that have a real shot at possibly getting inside the bubble should they slip up in their conference tournaments.
I wish.
Possibly.
If it didn't happen last year, I can't imagine it ever happening.
Hmm.
But
okay.
but
Committee.
I
I know some of them are watching. Listen, you need to respect this league. I'm sorry, Rocco. Go ahead.
Well, Keith Gill is the new selection committee chairman, and I have an interview with him next week, so I know he's watching. Keith, what happened, man? UC Irvine led the nation in road wins. All you did was tell us that road wins don't matter anymore. Thanks a lot. I guess
It
we'll just work on UC Irvine's brand from now on.
and here's the other thing. They didn't just lead the nation in road wins. They won at places where it's freaking hard to win.
Lethbridge, Alberta.
Yeah. I
So,
mean,
Uh,
nobody that was on the bubble that got selected would have done as well as UC Irvine against that schedule. I guarantee it. And they weren't as good as UC Irvine.
Now, unfortunately, the problem is
yes.
what I pulled up on the screen here. Nobody wanted to play them this year. But I mean,
Yeah,
so you got a couple non D1s even there, and you got
sure.
games against teams that make you shake your head. But Rocco, your thoughts on them? And I pulled up Santa
Yeah.
Barbara on the right there also, if you want to.
Yeah, I think Santa Barbara is the most talented team in the league certainly the largest players salary pool, if we're allowed to call it that. I think Miro Little and of course Aiden Mahaney is a former first team All WCC player, All WCC tournament team guy. I mean, you guys know the story, so it's kind of wild to see him at Santa Barbara, but that's really exciting for his career. He can come to this level, and if they get his career on track, I know. Being on the bench at UConn most of the season last year was really, really hard on a player like that. That's going to be a fascinating story. But also, a bounce back story at UC Irvine with Darren Saron. Last year at Stanford, it was not really ever announced. Kyle Smith, the crafty non-PR Kyle Smith himself, never really told us that Saran was hurt, but apparently he was hurt all year at Stanford, never really got to play. He's back at Irvine, and of course they go out and beat Arizona State in a exhibition game earlier this month. And
That's not hard to do.
yeah, it's not. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Sharon coming off of an injury and scoring 27 against a Big 12 team is a big statement. So I think he's ready to perform. Jurian Dixon's a guy that's been ready to break out. And then Kyle Evans has been stuck behind the big man, Bent Loishton. So I don't think Irvine goes anywhere. I think they're going to be awesome.
I do too.
I think they're going to win the league. I think Santa Barbara's got to, they have a lot of problems defensively. I don't know if this new group's it's going to take them a while to fix that.
And Griggs, a few other teams in this conference you may want to discuss. First of all, we got to at least mention UC San Diego after
Yeah.
their NCAA tournament appearance last year. I think you like this Hawaii team a bit too.
I really like this Hawaii team, and I know that that might be a bit of a dark horse, but like they finished ninth. They haven't been good at all. But I mean, they went into the portal and they got themselves some Legos. Dre Bullock from South Dakota was a double digit scorer. I know his team wasn't good, but he was a good player. Tanner Krupp from Evansville, and again, Evansville played in the Valley. He put up
Yeah.
numbers against one of the better mid major, or excuse me, under the radar leagues.
Yes.
Jack Mayers was a really good player at Norfolk State, one of the better players in the MEAC. And I don't really follow the JUCO game that closely, but they got some guys from JUCO that it looks like they could contribute at the Big West level right away. I mean, they've really amped up their roster. So
Right.
I kind of like what the Bows are doing. Well,
And
what do you think of Hawaii? Yeah.
you look at it, they have the best Ken Palm rating preseason of any team in this conference.
Oh, I
Right.
didn't.
Believe it or not.
I hadn't
I,
looked at
I,
that, to be honest.
Mhm.
I think it's a lot of the age of these guys too. Like Isaac Johnson started for the Utah State team 2 years ago for Danny Sprinkle that won the Mountain West, and then he had a little bit
Yeah.
of a setback because he didn't fit in with Calhoun's style as well. And now he comes to the Big West. I mean, he could really dominate. How many 7-footers are even in the league? So that they can use him as a weapon. They've got I'm counting them now. I think they have 6 grad transfer, so basically fifth-year players and another 3 fourth-year players and multiple juniors. The only real sophomore they'll count on is the point guard in Hunk and Claytor. So, yeah, I mean, if you just go off of age and experience and a tad bit of continuity, like Hawaii has a lot to work with. I think the big story is Jitis Nemechka got this crazy waiver approved. He had a really unique story. Look that up. We don't have a lot of time on the show, but he was not expected to be back. He got a late approval in September, and so now Hawaii went from like probably top four to probably definitely you have to put him in the top four preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this should be a real fun year in the Big West.
It
Griggs,
always is. Whew, love this league.
uh,
And so should the committee.
That's
how
right.
about-
And I'll also say like Mike DeGeorge at Cal Poly, unbelievable turnaround last year. Semifinal run was out of control, amazing, one of the best stories in March. And then Andy Newman in 2 years at Northridge has been outstanding. So I would not bet against those two programs either.
Griggs, the Coastal Athletic Association, CAA here, now a 13-team league.
Yeah.
Who's your pick in this conference?
Um. The safe pick is Towson. I know that.
I like the safe pick, but go ahead.
Yeah. They were 16-2 last year. While they didn't win the conference tournament and make the NCAA's, they were one of the better teams. They lost some key pieces, but they do have a couple of starters back. And Dylan Williamson, am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
Is a fantastic outside shooter, and he's a big piece. And then they also add Jack Duombia from Wright State, Tyler Schmidt from Valpo, who both average double figures in a not great, but still formidable Horizon League. I think it compares really nice. I think going from the Horizon to the Colonial is at least a lateral move. It's not a steep move, so I think they'll be able to continue to contribute. And I just like Pat Scarry. I always have. I would love to see them make the NCAA tournament, largely because of just my respect for him. And I know, like most people forget, you two haven't, but how bad was Towson when they took over? The worst. And that's not hyperbole. The worst D1 school in bad.
They were bad.
Yeah.
Uh, Rocco, if it's
Yes,
not
sir.
Towson, I think there's a couple of teams we could discuss.
There's one in particular, and I hope Rocco mentions him.
You probably will.
Well,
Yes.
I think oh man, you're making me nervous now. But I think there's three teams actually at the top tier.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I do have Towson as the highest rank, but it's close. I think UNC Wilmington
Uh-huh.
coming off
That's
the
the team I like second. I like best actually. But go ahead.
yeah, I mean they're coming off the great appearance against Texas Tech. If they held on for, another segment or two, they maybe knocked them off, and that was a team that almost went to the Final Four. So it says a lot about what Takeo Siddle's been able to do with this program. And now they have four projected seniors starting, and they mix in a 7-footer from Virginia Tech. Reserve role in the ACC, but that's kind of a big deal for the CAA in Patrick Wessler. So, and Christian May was Towson's, I would say, fourth best player last year. A big time veteran, a big time glue bag, really good teammate. I found it very interesting that Wilmington went and snagged him from Towson. So that's gonna create some drama within the league. And they also got Madison Durr from Monmouth. And so I know, and CJ Luster from Stony Brook. So I know.
What about the Gavin Walsh from Binghamton? He was a double double type of guy.
Right, but I was listening to the CAA guys because they
Yeah.
also got Lamoth from A&T.
Mm.
So four of these guys are from within the league.
Oh, from within the league. Okay.
Yeah, and that just kind of tells me Wilmington's going and getting the guys they want.
Mm.
And we know Charleston has a huge budget, and that's my third team. That you can't overlook Charleston. Chris Mack earlier in the offseason, and again he was coaching Louisville and other places in a different period. But he said pound for pound, this is the most talented roster he's ever coached. Believe him if you want, but I think that just says a lot
Um,
about Mr. Dean is obviously an unbelievable individual player. He went off for USC Upstate as a freshman. He gets him. Colby Dogan, another guy they're very familiar with, played for Kevin McKeehan at Campbell. They get Christian Reeves to come down from Clemson. Jalen Counter played for Middle Tennessee. So again, a bunch of Legos, but they're like already proven Legos. So I think if Charleston can play a lick of defense, which was their problem last year,
and the year before.
they'll be extremely dangerous because I do think they spent the most.
I think there's two other teams worth mentioning. First of all, Griggs, the
Yeah.
team you want to mention, a
You
fun
know.
team to watch, the best tempo of the conference. Were you
Yes.
talking, Bill and Mary?
Yes, I was. Yes,
Yeah.
I was. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's going to be a fun team to watch this year. I think William and Mary. I don't know that their defense is anywhere near as good as anybody else in the conference, honestly.
Well,
So that may be a
sometimes
bit of a problem. But
Well, the thing about their
Right.
defense is that it annoys offenses sometimes because it takes them about 15 or 20 seconds into the shot clock to score.
honestly,
It's really bad.
my pick for this conference is how can you go against the team that is named after a character played by the greatest actor in modern history? Of course, I'm talking about Stony Brook.
Oh man.
I mean, come on. John Wayne was Stony Brook. No,
I
that's not a reason.
Yeah, I think they have a long ways to go after last year.
It's not going to be a good year
I,
this year
I
with
that
Stony
is
Brook.
where did you
But
dig
did you
that?
know John Wayne was Stony Brook? Did you
No,
guys actually know that?
I did
I
not.
did not.
There you
Had
I
no
go.
I
idea.
have been educated in the ways of uh yeah, wow.
We got to get them out into a Western Conference, though. That's the whole problem.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I do want to also shout out
Yeah.
John Andrzejczyk's the one new coach in the league for the Campbell Camels,
Mhm.
and he was the defensive coordinator for the national champion Florida Gators. A buddy of mine, I think he's going to do an outstanding job. I thought he did a great job in the transfer portal. Torvik has Campbell going into the year fifth, which is crazy because he had no players, I think, when he got the job. So took Jeremiah Johnson from Green Bay, who out of all of Doug Gottlieb's players, I think he was the one to get since he still has 3 years of eligibility and can prove he can score. Some other nice pieces there at Campbell, so keep your eye on the Camels.
Well, Rocco, let's jump over to Conference USA, where I know I'm going to disagree with both of you, uh, but I also know I think where you're going as the champion in this league, and I think it's the Flames. Am I correct?
Well, I mean, for a preseason exercise, I don't see how you could pick against the Flames. They have three legit, proven, all conference level players, and it seems like Colin Porter's been there for a decade. Just the little spark plug point guard, and Caden Matheny's now been there for 3 years. He was originally a Bowling Green player, but Zach Cleveland's the beast. preseason player of the year. Well, he won the player of the what do you call it when you win the conference tournament? The tournament MVP. So they have three basically all
Yes, that's what they
conference.
call it, Rocco.
Yeah, yeah, I had to work through that there.
Yeah.
But they also, I think the big story for the Flames right now, I had the opportunity to talk with Richie McKay a few days ago, and both their projected front court starters are hurt. Isaiah Innen has a shoulder issue.
Ooh.
We'll see how long that keeps him out. And Josh Smith, they really were going to count on as well from Stetson. He had even though Stetson wasn't good, he had a good individual year and can throw his body around. So without those two bodies right now, it will be interesting. They have the Field of 68 event at their campus the first weekend, so they'll have to play both Florida Atlantic and Charleston. They certainly don't want to be shorthanded for that.
Yeah, that Charleston games are really interesting. Well, I guess they both are. I did
Yeah,
not know that. We have the workbooks, but that information doesn't start to populate until the season starts. That's good information. I didn't know that about Liberty, but one of the things about this team is just they just they shoot well. They shoot from the outside well. They've got
yeah.
a formidable front court, albeit Rocco just pointed out that it's hurt. And like High Point, they're one of these under the radar programs that will play the NIL transfer portal game. They will spend money and they will rebuild their roster and they will get the good pieces year after year after year. And I think they've done that again. But I value Chad's opinion as much as I dislike him.
Yeah, yeah.
Who else do you?
You
Yeah,
know, maybe I'm a little biased here if I saw them beat my Scarlet Knights last year, but
yeah,
I really like this Kennesaw State team coming into this
Yeah,
season here. Uh, they've got Simeon Cottle there, who's
awesome.
an awesome player, and I just think that they didn't really go the transfer route. They went more with the recruiting route, which is
Yeah.
a really old school. But if that can work here, uh, I've got a feeling on this Kennesaw State team,
Hmm.
and I get it. Maybe it's because Liberty's let me down a lot lately. Is one of the problems I have also
well,
with going with them.
they kind of have, and it's weird to say that about a team that won 28 games, but they really should have been better last year.
Yeah.
Given what they had.
Uh, but I like them, and well, Griggs, is there anyone else in here though? I threw out Kennesaw there. I think
Um,
that New Mexico State's a little bit interested with Jamal Jones, but I don't know if there's enough pieces there. But is there anyone else that you're looking at?
uh, Not a whole lot. Western Kentucky and New Mexico State have always been transfer heavy programs, seemingly even before we got into the transfer heavy era. Ray Harper, another guy. I mean, it seems like a
Yes.
lot of these schools have. I'll let Rocco like say something about them, but it seems like a lot of these programs are almost they've been having to rebuild their rosters every year for a while, and I kind of think that while I don't like them as much as Liberty, I think that some of those teams have some pieces. And New Mexico State, we're not going to relive the nightmarish off the court incidents that they've had to deal with because they really were bad. But are they kind of past that? Has that water gone under the bridge, and are they sort of getting back to normal, or as normal as New Mexico State is ever going to be?
Well, they made a lot of progress, I thought, last year,
Yeah.
getting up to the 4 seed. I think they pulled off quite a few upsets within the league. And let's not forget that this
And
league
you
was,
might recall it was for a while. It looked like they were going to have to shut the program down.
oh, it was
It
it
was
was ugly for a
yeah,
second. Yeah, that will happen when
yeah,
vets are involved. It's not good. I would just say that Jason Hooten was the right hire. He was at Sam Houston forever. He's as solid as they come, and he works really hard at bringing in the kinds of guys you can succeed with at New Mexico State, like the JUCO transfers. This year, he brings in one of the best scorers in the Big West from Bakersfield, Jamel Jones, and thank gosh for Jamel. He got out of there because Bakersfield had their own issues
yeah.
late in the offseason. So Jamel could lead the Conference USA actually in scoring. In fact, that would be my guess. But I'm just worried about the rest of the pieces. He's trying to get their defense ironed out. I think they'll be good by the end of the year. I don't know how it's going to start. Jacksonville State, though, you mentioned Ray Harper, building off of a lot of success. I think a lot of people will key in on both Pierre Jr., who was the Player of the Year, of course, earned the right to transfer up. He's on SMU now. and lost a lot of other, key players last year. But what he did is he built a group of seniors around Jamar Franklin. And the one thing I thought was very fascinating was how high he was on Jay Nash, young sophomore transfer from Tulsa. He was stuck on the bench at Tulsa. And Ray Harper, I mean, probably knows basketball and has coached basketball longer than anybody in the league, even McKay. And
Mhm.
Harper on media day said that Jay Nash, unless we can't make any open shots, will lead Conference USA in assists because he's the best passer I've ever coached. And so that gives me, and then I heard some scrimmage information. Sounds like they're playing very well early, good early returns. So I'm going to put my neck on the line. I think the Gamecocks can crack the
I'm
top
with you. Not
the
a whole
top
lot of
three.
respect at media day, but I think they can finish second. I like this
They have
Jack
a
State.
chance.
Yeah.
The race for second on paper is pretty wide open, in
Yeah.
all fairness.
Quick,
Yeah.
quick note: two new teams in this conference: Delaware, and Missouri State, both joining the league. Even though I don't know that
Tom,
either one that we're expecting much out of them in their first seasons. Either
Tom,
one.
Tom Crean loves Missouri State, so keep your eye
Okay.
on them.
Yeah. Great head
We
coach.
might have to bring him.
Yeah.
We might have to bring Tom Crean on to under the radar if
Oh,
they
we can
if they
let's
pull.
work on that. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
Griggs, let's jump over to the Horizon League here. Uh, where just a couple months ago we had Greg Campy on for a show and did
Hmm.
was a great take a look on that if you guys could find it on the back down there on the website. But I actually like his team a lot this year.
I do too.
Yeah.
He does, which is good because he's stuck with them for 8 9 months or whatever it
Hmm.
is. But yeah, I like this Oakland team. I don't think that there's a definitive favorite. It's not like High Point and then everybody else, or Vermont and everybody else. Milwaukee is looking good. I still like this Youngstown State team. Penguin Fever. I can't just let it go. I like all three of those teams.
Well, Rocco, who's it going to be then?
Yeah, I have Penguin fever in the regular season for to break through and win the regular season title, but I do trust that Oakland will be once again playing their best basketball in March, and they'll cut down the Horizon Nets in Indianapolis.
Yes.
Maybe not the other Nets in Indianapolis, but we'll give them the Horizon
Well,
Nets.
I pulled the screen share down for a second because
Yes, we
I need
have
to
to.
I need to show
We
you
yes.
show something here because
What
it's
a
going to be a very fascinating conference tournament.
this is not a joke.
Uh, uh, you know, we the stairway to seven from the Sun Belt last year was crazy. This is
It inspired
yes.
more craziness.
There are yes, there are five games in that second round, not four. There's then one game in the quarterfinals. This is what you have to get through to win this conference tournament. Um, I don't
I
Well,
know.
and then
believe
it's a no day rest for the winner of that game on Sunday.
Yes, and that would be the lowest two
That's the
seeded
advantage.
teams coming out of the five Wednesday games.
so. I
Uh,
believe if you look at this, I want to
mhm.
see if I can encapsulate this right. It is a reseeded format
Yep.
where of the
Once you get to
top five
five.
teams
Yep.
after what I guess we were going to call that a quintuple final,
Yeah, the
not a
quintuple.
quarterfinal. What would we call that round? The
I don't
quintuple
know.
final.
That's why
It's
we're
a
gonna figure this out.
quarterfinal. It's a quarterfinal, right?
Well,
It's just one. It's only one. It's just a
the one
solo
game is a
quarterfinal.
quarterfinal. I meant the round before that.
And the round
Oh,
before
We
that,
got
round
yeah,
before
we got
that
the
too. You
opening
got
round.
second
We have a
round. You have
quintuple
an
final.
opening round and a second round,
Yeah,
and then you're back in the quarter for one. I don't know.
this is somebody hit their head in the shower. Good God, who came up with that?
it's kind of interesting. It's always fun to have a neat conference tournament format. We had so much fun
Well,
As
we
much
had
fun as we made of the extension ladder that the Sun Belt used and still uses, it actually made for a very compelling season. I don't know what this even is.
it inspired a whole culture of new crazy brackets, and we're gonna
Yeah,
get we're gonna get more next year. So just
yeah.
brace yourself.
let's Rocco, let's jump over to the Ivy League. Uh,
Oh yes.
uh, I think we've got a clear favorite in this conference, in my opinion, but
Yep.
go ahead and tell me that you don't agree if you like.
No, I definitely agree, and
Okay.
Coach Jones has earned that, and Nick Townsend being back. I mean, yeah, that's pretty big time. I think this team's gonna, it's gonna be tough to beat them on any night. They won't run the table because the Ivy's really really good, but Yeah, I mean, I could see them going undefeated at home, and I can't remember their schedule off the top of my head. They won't
Yeah,
win at
pull up
Al.
the.
I'll pull it up right here. It'll show up on
Yeah,
the
they
left
won't
here.
win at Alabama. But I know they're going there. But
At
like
Navy, most of the rest
Rhode
of this
Island's
conference.
a very they should beat Rhode Island.
Yeah,
They don't.
it's
Yeah,
very
and they're in
very
that.
winnable.
Yeah, they're in that Paradise Jam, which where I would probably pick them to win that too, actually. So I think they're better than Akron. I think that, Yale or Charleston, whoever wins that second game, if that's what it is, probably win that whole tournament. So yeah, Yale should I mean they could end up going into March with 28, 29 wins.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah,
But this league's really good.
beyond Yale, obviously only 4 teams make it to Ivy Madness, hosted by Cornell this year, and I think Cornell could sneak into that fourth spot. But Griggs, uh,
Certainly.
who else? Who's in play for second place in your opinion, at least?
It's it's kind of hard to say. I like Harvard. I like Cornell. I kind of like Dartmouth a little bit. Um, they I know that that's a weird thing to say, but Dartmouth is coming off of their best season in a while, and I think that that
Their
momentum
star is
can
back
carry.
too.
Yeah. Another thing about the Ivy League is that it isn't Legos. It isn't pieces that they actually build from within. And I think teams like Yale, if they were to play some big teams early on. Yale in much of the league has known their rotation probably since May. And nobody else can really say that. A lot of schools are still figuring it out.
Harvard
Yeah.
Harvard has a lot of guys back.
Yeah,
Harvard has a lot of guys back.
but
A lot of
what?
teams in the conference have a lot of guys back. The team that's picked to finish last is actually interesting. Most people forget that Columbia last year was 11-1 at one point and had won at Villanova, and how that same group of players then proceeded to just crash into a mountain once Ivy League play started. But they've shown they can stink, but they've also shown that they can play pretty well. And maybe if there's a dark horse, is there reason to think it's Columbia?
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a more interesting story here might also be what happened at Princeton. Caden Pierce, was great last year, is sitting out this season, so he can graduate and transfer and play for somebody else next year. That's a little disappointing,
Yeah.
almost, to my opinion. But obviously,
They're
the name of the
saying
game these days.
Yeah, and I saw something earlier this morning, Chad, that said this is the first year in the history of Princeton basketball, which is probably well over 100 years, where they haven't had a senior because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
now it's like Hickey and Davis have to act like seniors and also they have Huggins as well. The three juniors basically have to perform like seniors, and Henderson's really struggling with that in practice where he was.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but yeah, in Columbia's case, let's call out real quick the two new head coaches. Kevin Hovde ran an amazing offense, came up through Coach Mooney over at Richmond and played for Coach Mooney at Richmond himself, and obviously won the national championship running the Gator offense. He was able to convince like six of these guys to stay. Now, obviously, they're gonna have to figure out defense. To answer your statement earlier, like they didn't play a lick of D last year, and it killed them. They'll be much improved, and I think he's an excellent ball coach. So I do think Columbia has a chance to be a dark horse because they are pretty old. Like they have four senior starters, and then of course, how can we forget Fran McCaffrey, Pennsylvania's new head coach? He's back home, and he's figuring out ways to get some dudes. So. Ethan Roberts somehow came back. He could be the player of the year in the league. He probably won't
Mhm.
be, but he's got a chance to be. And I heard he's got a little bit of a shoulder injury, so hopefully he gets back soon. But they're going to be really fun. They're going to play just like Iowa played, top 30 tempo in the country. They're a real wild card in the Ivy League now.
Yeah. Ivy League, very interesting league, the most unique of all the Division One leagues in the sense that first of all, there's no grad students. Uh,
Right.
there've been cases where players have graduated and they wanted to come back and play, and the league told them no, not just for basketball, but for all sports, and no transfers. If someone leaves or your team, you're not replacing them with a transfer, you're replacing them with a freshman. Also, no athletic scholarships. A lot of people might be saying, well, my goodness, like, how can how can he do that? Like, why is he allowed to leave Princeton's team? Why wouldn't they cut his aid? Well, there's no aid to cut. He's either on academic aid or he's paying his own way.
Yeah.
So like it's just a very unique league. I love this league, really.
Great basketball.
Yeah.
And in all the years we've been doing Hoops HD, the only league whose membership has not changed. Just
Yeah.
remember that.
There we
And it
go.
won't change.
It will
Uh,
not. Yeah.
but Rocco, let's jump over to the Metro Atlantic Athletic Association, Athletic Conference. I'm sorry, not association.
The Ma.
I think that there's three, four teams that can win this. I think it's a fascinating conference this season. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, I mean, let me count. I mean, I think there's a clear top seven, and I think any of the seven could win it.
Okay, you go bigger than me then. Go
I'm
ahead.
going bigger than you. I'm not sold on Mount St. Mary's. I know they got there last year, and I shouldn't doubt Donnie Lind. They played really well down the stretch. I think they won that tournament as the 5 seed. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But first of all, like Sacred Heart won the transfer portal. Let me repeat that. Sacred
Yeah, they
Heart
did.
won. They were
They did.
they added two amazing pieces in Jan Farrell and I'm trying to remember the second person, but they brought a lot back on top of that with Anquan Hill back, Mecky Connor back. Sacred Heart's a real player here, and I've seen so many people pick the POs as their dark horse. That are they even dark anymore? They're just a
They're not.
horse. They're just a horse now.
Yeah.
Sienna is the team I've been the highest on.
Yep.
I think they've got a really good high level of talent. Between Coyle, Doty, and certainly Schultz, probably their leading scorer. There's a lot to work with, and having GMAC there is really exciting. They're recruiting extremely well once again, which is exciting. In Albany, Quinnipiac's got the best all-around player in Amari Monroe, a double-double machine, and with Zimmerman there, they have another nice team. Quinnipiac could definitely win the league. Iona is like the mini Radford, right? Hiring Dan Garrio from the NBA. He's a younger Moneyball guy, GM brain. Will it work right away? Will it take a year? I don't know, but they have a starter or a former starter from Colorado State 2 years ago, Keyshawn Williams. That's pretty impressive. Chase Cormier played a ton for Wofford. And then Matthew Reed played for, a lot for Tulsa as a big man, and same with Denver England at Rice. He was a starter for Rice. So they've got guys coming from bigger leagues down to them. If he optimizes this lineup correctly, which is always the big question in the room, Iona could be very dangerous. Then I like the teams that both Manhattan, Marist, and even Merrimack have to work with. So those are my seven.
Yeah, I mean, Maris, six of the top eight players are back from a 20-win team. That's amazing consistency in
It
this day
is.
and age. And I like this Maris
Manhattan has
team
a
right
lot back
here.
too. Yeah.
Manhattan had a lot back. Will Snyder there. You mentioned Quinnipiac. I know Monroe almost didn't come back. And if he had, but I think his decision to come back is huge for the Bobcats and puts
Huge,
them right there. Uh,
huge. He's
Griggs,
gonna put
any
up
thought?
big numbers.
Griggs, any other thoughts on the conference?
Two really quick. Manhattan and Iona, it's always been a fun rivalry. It's been sort of lopsided. I think the storyline behind that rivalry is going to be back this year, so I'm looking forward to that. Another thing is the standings you're looking at on the screen are alphabetized. This is the only time Canisius will be anywhere. Canisius might win the Centenary Award. They are atrocious.
Uh, Griggs, let me stick with you. Jump over to the Mid-American Conference. As we're definitely running a little slow, little behind in time here, but Mid-American Conference. First of all, I want to welcome UMass to Under the Radar show. They are officially under the radar
Yeah.
now, but your thoughts on the MAC?
Well, yeah, and our congrats to UMass and Angry Frank for leading them to under the radar, I suppose. Um, I'm not going with the media day favorites. Akron's good. And again they were able to reload their roster, but the team I really like is this Miami, Ohio team. They won 25 games last year. I mean, I know some of that was in a postseason tournament. Three starters are back from a team that was really playing well in the latter part of the season. I like Peter Suter. I think he's one of the better players in the conference. They've got some guys that can hit from distance, like Eon Elmer. Brant Bears returns from a very solid freshman year. A lot of the times, guys that are good there, you see a lot of improvement between freshman and sophomore year. And I know that like Stalika would yell outside and yell at the moon if you heard me say this, but I like Travis Steele as a coach. I think he's done really well with this Miami team. They're noticeably better since the time he took over, and I think they can win this league this year.
Yeah, Rocco, it's kind of funny. We discussed this last year as well, but there are 6 teams from the state of Ohio in this conference. I think the top five could come from that group again.
Yeah, they should. They should. It'll be interesting to see where UMass falls if they can get in the middle of any of them or if they're
Yeah.
seventh or lower, you know. So that'll be fascinating. I do also think, kind of on that, I think a lot of people have the Kent State, Akron, Miami, Ohio, and Ohio foursome, whatever order as their
Yeah.
top four. But I do think Toledo and Bowling Green have, continued to make progress during this exhibition season. Toledo's had some nice results. It sounds like they made some mistakes roster wise last year. Got that corrected. Got you have veteran players like Kyler Vanderjagt who put up really good numbers for the Chippewas. Stays right here in the conference. Get Austin Parks from down the road at Ohio State. That's a big impact possibility for the Rockets. And then I think at Bowling Green, they went out and got a couple high major players with Javon Ruffin, who played a lot at Colorado, and Justin Thomas at Florida State. You add that to veteran guys like Kimbrough, Campbell, and Sam Towns. They put a little scare into Michigan State, in that exhibition game. So I think Bowling Green's probably my dark horse if there is a dark horse.
So it could be all six. I really wasn't looking
There
at
you
Bowling
go.
Green that much, but you just brought the sixth Ohio team in for me here.
All in the family.
Rocco, let me stick with you over in the MEAC. This is a conference. First of all, no conference stayed in red, an APR postseason ban. They won't be in the conference tournament either. Uh,
Chad
what what
Sherwood breaking news on that.
what are your thoughts on this conference? Because I think we're going to be quick on this league because I think it's one
Yeah.
team and only one team to discuss.
Well, I think a lot of the HBCU talent has drifted to the SWAC.
It has.
I'm super excited about the SWAC. We'll get there soon.
Yes,
But yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of a surprise pick. Like Norfolk State has outside of Elijah Jamison, they have a lot of new pieces they got to try to mold with. I'm sure Coach
okay.
Jones will do it. But my pick is I'm going back to Howard. The
Bryce
team,
Harris, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Bryce
yeah.
Harris can play, but I don't. I'm not with you. But go ahead.
You're not with me. Okay.
I'm not with you.
Well,
I'm on Norfolk. I'm sold on them. But go ahead.
I thought Cam Gillis was a really solid Lehigh level player. Played a ton for Lehigh last year. Howard picked him up. It's the kind of guy that only Howard could get in this league. Delaware State loaded up with a bunch of athletes. If you need a dark horse, go with the Hornets. Stan Waterman's overachieved, I think, every season. So, those are the three. And NC Central is usually in the mix. Deontay Johnson's a really good player, but they just haven't defended very well these last couple seasons.
Yeah, should be interesting at least. The only 7 teams in the conference tournament will be one of our smaller conference tournaments also. But Griggs, how about the Valley, Missouri Valley Conference, where I think there's 2, 3 teams worth of very serious discussion here.
Oh yeah. Illinois State got the nod at media day. The team I really like, and there's certain teams that I just probably overvalue every year, and I know Northern Iowa is one of them. But I like them again. I don't remember the last time they weren't my pick, but I like. I mean, I think Ben Jacobson is a really good coach. They've got 3 starters returning. Trey Campbell is a really good all around player, a really good outside shooter. Ben Schwager is another guy that can defend and rebound. He's a big guy that can hit from range. If there's anything I love, it's big guys that can hit from range. And while they did lose their 2 leading scorers, and while their depth is questionable, and while common sense should probably tell me not to do it, I'm doing it anyway. I'm picking Northern Iowa again.
I think Ben Jacobson is a great coach, but I've also felt this program has disappointed us a lot in recent history.
They've disappointed me.
Maybe it's because you've sold me on them every year, but
Yeah.
Rocco, this Illinois State also has 3 starters back, led by Chase Walker. Anywhere else you want to discuss them or anybody else in the conference also?
They definitely belong in the mix. I mean, those are three great players, but I think, at this point, it's Ryan Pedon as a head coach needs to prove he can get above 500 in this league. I think his best finish is 10-10, and that's a big difference between when you're going up against the Ben Jacobsons and the Brian Wardles of the league. And I'm when all these teams are pretty darn good. I think the top seven is extremely good. I think it might be Belmont's chance to break through.
Ooh,
That was my third pick. Thank you. Go for it.
Yeah, so they're my pick to win Arch Madness. I do have Northern Iowa winning the regular season. I might backpedal on that, but I guess it's too late because the season's about to start. So I'll stick with it. But the reason for it is Tyler Lumblade changes the game. I mean, the best three-point shooter in the country, over 48%. Unless he takes a dip, I don't expect that. I think there's a video of him on YouTube this summer making 80 straight threes. Like, what the heck? I mean, even if he's not involved in scoring all the points, he's going to attract so many double teams. That's going to free up a bunch of other proven veteran players. I thought bringing in Nick McLean as a proven, good defender and a tall 6'4" point guard from Eastern Washington, really, really smart addition by Casey Alexander to be the catalyst of the offense. And I like the makeup of the team. There's a clear plan here for the Bruins.
Yeah, I love that pick also. Let me stick with you, Rocco, over the Northeast Conference. Uh, got three
that's
teams
me.
in red here. Lemoyne and Mercyhurst still ineligible uh, for the NCAA tournament, and welcome the New Haven Chargers to Division One. Congratulations, newest member of the NEC, and we're also going to be saying farewell to St. Francis after this season, their final season in D1. It's a real
Uh,
shame, but
it
uh,
Yeah, it is.
Rocco, who do you like in this conference? Because I'm hearing one team and only one team everywhere I look. But
is. Well, I give the LIU Brooklyn Sharks a lot of credit for I'll be honest, I didn't have a relationship there at all, and I think some point this summer I got a random text saying, "Hey, come check us out." And so I went to an LIU practice last month, and I mean, yeah, they're full of athletes. The cool story is Malachi Davis, returning NEC Player of the Year, had the opportunity to go to a bunch of high majors. He had already played at Arizona State and got lost in the shuffle there. Did not want to go through that again, even at the sacrifice of however many dollars that cost him. And that was the catalyst to convincing Jamal Fuller to stay. And Lassou, the big man, who's coming into his sophomore year, played a ton last year. And then they also had a relationship with Greg Gordon, who you guys know played a little bit for UAB,
Yep.
and got him to come over. So this roster is not a 16 seed roster. I'll just say that. We've seen Central Connecticut have some really good teams the last 2 years. I think LIU kind of slides into that role. If it all breaks right, they do have a chance, I think, to crack maybe even the 14 seed line. But now
did you
that
hear that, everybody? Rocco is giving LIU an at-large bid.
Yeah.
they're working their way there. They got to go two more seed lines, and then we'll talk. But no,
Well,
it's exciting. If all of this, all of this hype gets met, it's going to be super exciting for the league.
he's not far off. Now they have to blow through this league to get there, but I think they're good enough to do that. There's just no one that's close to them at all. I Notre Dame is not a good team. I don't think they're going to beat Notre Dame, but they could probably win. They're probably going to go to Air Force and win. They're going to win a
Yeah,
fair amount uh, of their out of conference games. I think they're going to beat LaSalle.
yeah. That I
They they
mean, they're in
they
good
can win
shape
at
against some of those.
yeah
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
can win at Missouri State despite what Tom Crean says.
it's the
yeah.
Tom Crean Bowl.
Air Force is
gotta bet
is
on that
not.
game.
Air Force can be hard to play against. JMU is interesting. I don't think they beat James Madison, but that is a hard road game for James Madison to go to LIU. Now,
It's gonna be awesome.
it's not LIU Brooklyn anymore. It's not the Blackbirds. They've not only rebranded, they've moved institutions. Am I right in that, or did they merge two together?
They
What happened?
merged two together, I
Yeah,
think,
okay.
Yeah.
because
And
they're
so,
playing in Brooklyn. I did go to
yeah,
Brooklyn for practice, so
okay, yeah. So it's not the Blackbirds anymore. Like they're in. I kind of hate that the
Sharks.
Battle of Brooklyn is gone because St. Francis closed. But
Oof.
this is an exciting team that
Yeah.
is not your typical NEC team, and you need to download right now. Take out your phone and download NEC on the Run. It is a free app. I'm not kidding. The production value is excellent, and it's every conference game, every home event, which means every conference game. And I'd rank it up there production value wise is with anything out there, especially since it's free. Download it now.
Oh, you can watch on your computer at necfrontrow.com also.
Yeah,
So either way.
yeah.
Uh, Griggs, let me stick with you. The Ohio Valley Conference. Uh, Hearing a lot of love for this Little Rock team, and quite frankly, I agree with it, but I don't know if you do or not.
I like them, and I liked them last year, but I'm a little tired of being let down by Little Rock. No offense to our good friend Rocco, who has a strong connection to the Little Roccos there. But I'll tell you who I do like, and it's SEMO. I thought
Yeah.
they were the best team in the league at the end of the season last year. I think they're one of the few teams that might be able to get above the 16 line, which is, 5 or 6 years ago, we would have never said that about this conference, but it really has kind of fallen apart. Uh, they won 11 of their last 12. They've got three starters back. Brandon Terry, I think, is one of the better players in the conference. They also add Luke Olimar, who averaged 20. I know he played at the NAIA, but I really think, Chad, that some of those top level NAIA programs are about as good and maybe in some cases a little bit better than a lot of the teams in the OVC. This is not one of the top under the radar leagues. It's one of the bottom ones now. And he's a good piece, and I think he's going to be really effective for them. I just think SEMO is really good. And no, I think it's them, and I think it's clearly them, honestly.
Really think so. I mean, because if you want to look at three starters back, you've got that. A lot of teams in this league, believe it or not, teams like Tennessee State,
Yeah.
Lindenwood, Eastern Illinois has a couple guys back in
Well,
Cooper
those are,
Jacoby and Zion Firster.
yeah.
But these are teams that could be moving up here. But Rocco, I get that Little Rock may have disappointed some. KK Roberts is back healthy again though this year, and isn't that the key here for the Little Rockos?
Well, he's out for the season now.
Oh, is he out for the season now?
Yeah,
Okay, never
K
mind. Forget.
yeah.
We got to do a Griggsy race. Okay, I missed that news.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So
so,
Jonathan Lawson's going to be
but
carrying
you have
a
Jonathan
lot of the
Lawson
load.
and you have Gat Kick and
And KK's brothers. He has two brothers still on the team.
that's what
I
I meant.
think
His brother. That's what I meant.
yeah, they did get beat by Pine Bluff in
Okay.
exhibition the other night. A much improved Pine Bluff, I might add.
Yeah.
But it's still a loss to Pine Bluff. Doesn't feel good. I think yeah, Little Rock's still going to be tough. I mean, there's still talent there. They're definitely more invested than the rest of the league, I think. But Edwardsville's the defending champ. No more Rayshon Taylor. I think there's still Brian Barone's a really good coach, and I
Really good. And that was a great story last year.
it
Yes.
was. And then I also
I do
think
like them this year also. Yes.
Yeah.
and I did a story, early in the summer on the suddenly eligible teams. Two of them are in this league in both
Hmm.
Southern Indiana and Lindenwood. Again, looking at
Talk.
it on
Let's talk
paper,
Lions. Come on, do it.
they're better. I mean, they're
Yes.
definitely better. Jadis Jones is back. He didn't play in the last scrimmage, so I'm scared about that, but I think he's back. And Futrell. Futrell was a guy not listed on Torvik all summer, but he is back. So I think their projection went from around 290th to 250th, and 250th might win you the OVC. So Lindenwood, I think, has a chance. Southern Indiana, Trey Thomas comes from
Yeah, I mean, I like this Southern Indiana team.
Trey Thomas, an all SWAC team, all SWAC first
Yeah,
teamer.
that kid's good.
Very good, and they have a lot of other pieces there. It could be Stan's best team. Stan Guard's their former legend and now, of course, head coach. So exciting stuff for Lindenwood and USI, at least to start the year. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and the NCAA changing the transitional rules, allowing them to, as long as they meet certain criteria, which they did, to forego the fourth year.
Everybody did. Every single
Yeah,
team that could have did meet that. So,
yeah.
uh,
I like that, and I thought the 4 year transition was idiotic anyway. I honestly think I know I might be in the minority. I think it should be 2 years. I don't even think it should be three.
Rocco, let's jump over to the Patriot League, where I personally, I'm looking at a team with everybody back, and that's the Navy midshipmen. But
Woohoo! I love
uh,
this.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they definitely deserve the preseason accolades. I think Austin Bonini kind of surprised. It takes a place like Navy for a guy with those kind of attributes and analytics to stay. Clearly committed to the cause, Mr. Bonini. But there's a good team around him, and I'm really excited for John Perry, the newer head coach that took over for the legend Ed DeChellis. And so, yeah, this is their chance for sure. Donovan Draper's a nice forward. So is Aiden Kehoe. Um, the question is when does Colgate come back and start biting back? And maybe it's this year. Jalen Cox is an excellent guard. So is Brady Cummins. So
And they
Um,
got a 7 footer too with Cameron Brennan. So
they do. So that you could pick Colgate, and you wouldn't get a big argument from me. I also just think in general the program that's had my attention the last two off seasons is the Bucknell Bison. They're scheduling freaking everybody to try to get better and to get attention on the right level of recruits. They just got blitzed by Louisville in the scrimmage, but the fact that they're getting those games shows you that John Griffin III wants Bucknell to be on the national stage as many times as possible, even if they're getting killed. And they really competed last year. For a minute there, it looked like they were going to be in position. And so with their projected starting lineup, four of the guys are returners, and they added a nice piece from Toledo, as well as a backup reserve guy from Fordham. So, there's some opportunity there for the Bisons.
yeah, I also oh, I'm on the wrong screen. I also take a quick look at BU here because that's a team with 3 guys back, and they've got a big guy down low also with Ben Defty. So
Yeah, he's huge.
th- th- uh, there's teams that could challenge Navy, but Griggs, I think Navy at the end of the day is the winner of this conference, despite
I
all
do
that.
too, and it would be fun for me to see a program like that win. It's hard at any service academy, Army, Navy, Air Force, or any military academy, VMI, the Citadel, because of the institutions that they are. The recruiting pool that they have is substantially more shallow than your typical D1 program. I mean, there just aren't many D1 caliber players that want that kind of college experience. So whenever a team like Navy has a roster as good as this one is, it's kind of exciting.
Speaking about service academies or similar, let's jump over
Yeah.
to SoCOD, where I want
Ooh,
to make a
love this
case
league.
for a team that has not been in the
I know
NCAA
you do.
tournament since 1977, led by Ricky Bradley Jr., 4 starters back. Uh, Griggs, Rocco, whoever wants to respond, could this be the year that we are actually talking VMI cadet basketball? Who's joining me on the bandwagon?
Um,
I hope so. I hope so.
yeah,
I mean, what they were able to accomplish last year was unbelievable.
yeah, it was.
Semifinal appearance, and the night they played Wofford, who was also in that game from an upset themselves. I think Wofford started the game 9 for 10 from three, so they
Mhm.
got buried quickly. But I think otherwise, VMI, if they hang in there early in against some of these teams that have much higher caliber athletes. I mean, across the positions 1 through 5, they'll grind you out and they'll find a way to win late, and that's really inspiring. And I think the cool thing is as well, Andrew Wilson, their head coach, had a bunch of chances to move up in the coaching ranks, and he really loves this job and decided to stay with these guys. AJ Clark's a defensive player of the year candidate as well for VMI. So again, I still think there's a clear top four, and VMI is not part of it.
Yeah,
But all it takes is 3 lucky days at the old Harrah's Casino in Asheville.
Well, here's the other thing. VMI only won 15 games last year, but
Seemed like they had like
they
a
won
huge year.
4 the year before,
Yeah,
and that
exactly.
is trending in the right direction quickly. It's a bold pick, Chad. I don't think they win, but I love their story, and my God, that would be awesome if they
Griggs,
could.
you want to talk about the Chattanoogas and the Furmans of this conference? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chattanooga. The reason I like this Chattanooga team last year was they know something that every good team should know, but that most under the radar teams seem to forget. They started off 0-3. They went out west and played. They swung over their heads. And at the end of the year, they won 29 games, won the NIT, and had a phenomenal season. So it just goes to show you, to repeat what Greg Campy said when we had him on over the summer, don't be afraid to do that. Um, One of the problem is that almost none of their starters are back, but they do have some solid transfers. Billy Smith comes in from Bellarmine, Teddy Washington, who was a good player at
Great
SEMO.
player.
Yeah, Brendan Watkins, North Dakota State, another really good player. And I think they have reloaded. At least they have the pieces. But then again, do the Legos fit together? We won't know until they start playing.
Rocco, anyone else you want to address in this league?
Well, yeah, I think Lenny Acuff coming in from Lipscomb and all the success he had also at UA Huntsville, UAH, the Division II powerhouse. He's back in his sweet home Alabama, and
Hmm.
that's a great program taking over from Buckyball. brings in a Dylan Faulkner, who a lot of people forgot about. He missed all of last year, but he's an excellent, perfect player for the system. There's some other good pieces there. So I think Samford by the end of the year be very dangerous. They might start a little slow. We saw them lose to Alabama A&M, of course, in the exhibition, but it is what it is. And then I also think East Tennessee State, they had the best defense in the conference last year, and I got a chance to talk to Brooke Savage about that for a while. That's going to be the way they try to muck it up and win once again. A lot of new faces, though. They got raided by the portal. We'll see what it looks like later in the year. I think those are a solid 3 and 4 right there.
All right, let me stick with you, Rocco, real quick. Jump over to the Southland Conference, where we
Ooh.
no longer have Will Wade in the league. So has it become wide open?
No, because
Yeah.
because Javon Garcia, I don't know how it happened, but he's still there, and he's the Southland Conference Tournament MVP. He does absolutely everything: a steal and a half a game, almost a block a game, 2 assists a game, 3.5 rebounds, 12.7. Plays with unbelievable energy. He had the JUCO year, so thanks to Diego Pavia, Javon Garcia stays in the Southland. But they go out, and you can tell McNeese is extremely invested. Um,
Yes.
because they go out and get Gary Dual, who was like a former 4 or 5 star player, played for Seton Hall last year. That's just not your typical Southland roster. Uh, Gerald Colbert, their new center, was at SMU, and Archie, a guy competing for point guard spot, came from Tulsa. The list goes on. They have a former Oklahoma player as well. So they are freaking loaded. And the guy I really want to call out though, and this is the guy to watch. Super bouncy, had some nice stats in one of the recent exhibitions. Larry Johnson, he was a 4 star recruit. I would argue there's probably not many of those in the Southland. And at Creighton, they wanted him to sit. McNeese said, "No, we'll give you a few extra bucks. Come play this year." And I think Larry Johnson's going to be electric for McNeese.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I thought,
don't think it's wide open at all, Chad. I think
yeah,
it's
well, I
McNeese.
think there's a couple of teams to keep an eye on at least, maybe in the
Yeah.
battle for second
Oh,
place.
absolutely.
Incarnate Word coming off of
Yes.
19
Oh,
wins
I
with
love that
Davian
team.
Bailey
Yeah.
back, and
They
Lamar.
spent a lot of money too, actually.
Alvin Brooks is a name to look out for in the future here as the head coach at Lamar. I think this is a rising star here as well.
Yeah, and I would also say like with Stephen F. Austin hiring Matt Bronner from Texas Tech, I think you're looking at a quick turnaround, and SFA might be right back in the mix. And then of course Corpus Christi's been good, really really solid for years, and even what Craig Doty's doing at Houston Christian and New Orleans spent some money, so I think the Southland top to bottom has gotten way better.
Yeah, and are they following McNeese's lead or like?
Mhm.
I mean, I know they're not
They're
spending
finding
money like
ways. I
McNeese is,
mean,
but New Orleans is spending money. Good
New
Lord.
Orleans has Master P, as the
Yeah.
GM. So we have so many great stories. UTRGV, they just added football, and all of a sudden there's this cash coming in, and they've got some guys, and UTRGV plays like a top 30 tempo. So again, there's with SFA back, and you did a good job, Chad, by mentioning Lamar. This is gonna be a hotly contested league, but I just think McNeese is clearly a cut above the rest. It's just, how does the rest shake out?
All right, Griggs, we've been waiting for it. We want to address the SWAC. There's a lot of stories we can go with here, but I'll let you start off and discuss the best SID in the conference.
Yeah. Yes.
A shout out
I'm
to Bethune's Sports Information Director. Go
whose
ahead.
name I'm blanking on, but
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
we were trying to get the score from an exhibition game, and he got back with us in about 90 seconds, and as a bonus, threw in volleyball rosters with so it was one of those things I didn't know I needed it until I had it, and then I realized it's what I had been missing. But anyway, we've had some very outstanding SID work this off season, haven't we, Chad?
We have, but Rocco, as far as this league goes, I think this Bethune Cookman team is there. I mean, how can you go against a team with the guy by the name of Dr. Bradley on the roster? Also, that's what a name.
I
But
love the SWAC
The
this year.
problem
obviously,
is,
obviously Texas Southern, Johnny Jones, always there. I kind of like Jackson State as well. But what are your thoughts?
yeah, man, there's a lot of good options.
Yeah.
Bethune-Cookman, I think sometimes the doctor doesn't order defense, and he loves offense. The doctor loves prescribing offense, but he needs to prescribe some more defensive prescriptions. But I think Southern has been a mainstay and a really solid program under Kevin Johnson, and Michael Jacobs is back to help continue that. I think one of the two interesting coaching changes in the league that really will help shape the race. I think Patrick Crary and that crazy circumstance he had at Florida A&M. Congratulations to him. Gets out of that. Now he's at Grambling. Brings some of his guys with him. I think he's going to do an amazing job at Grambling. They played an exhibition game against McNeese the other day. They were tied with 2 minutes to go. So watch out for Grambling. And then I think over at Alabama A&M, we saw what Dante Jackson did year in and year out for Grambling. Won a tournament game in the first four a couple of years ago. And now Alabama A&M, of course, comes out and beats Samford in a scrimmage. Contavious Dozier is there. And, Sammy Pissis, like one of the leading scorers in America East, transfers to Alabama A&M. The SWAC is making moves. And even the Arkansas Pine Bluff example, their roster, I won't go into the details, but their roster is much better. So I think there's like seven or eight pretty decent to solid teams. Jackson State should have the best roster. But I think it's going to be a lot of carnage in the league because there's so much quality.
All 12 teams, by the way, this year invited to the conference tournament. I believe
Yeah.
it's back in Atlanta again, if I recall correctly.
Get the Delta Devils guys to do all the games.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is yeah, this is turning into like a really really fun league, and it's always been competitive, but the talent level seems to be going
Quality.
up.
Yeah.
Whereas there were a lot of years where you felt like the distance between the MEAC and the SWAC and everybody else, even the lower level under the radar leagues, was big. But this is not a six. This is not a play-in game, 16 seeds type of league. I don't think. Not anymore.
It might not
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest, like there's a lot of years where I look at the first team all SWAC preseason and there's usually a couple guys, if not more, that I've never seen play. And this
Yeah.
year I look at the list, I've seen all these guys play. This is
Yeah.
pretty impressive. They're
Yeah.
all old and they're ready to get to the tournament.
Absolutely. Griggs, Summit League, and the St. Thomas Tommies are postseason eligible, and that's bad news for the rest of the conference.
Yeah, St. Thomas coming up from D3, had a very successful stint as a transitional program, and now one of the favorites. You know, how impressive was it that they won 20 games 2 seasons in a row as a transitional program? That's just not done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
and
I, but I,
they open the new arena coming up this year,
Yeah,
as
new
well.
new arena. You got some high end transfers like the kid from Nebraska, Janowski coming in. Rocco, I think the St. Thomas team wins this conference, even though there are a few very good programs in it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good race. St. Thomas, as long as they can solve, they like to get into shootouts, and I do think at one point they'll have to figure out how to get some stops, more, consistent stops, I should say. And so, but otherwise, yeah, I agree. St. Thomas is my pick as well. I do think, quickly that Omaha brought a good amount back. Obviously, they lost their superstar.
Yeah,
Sutton went to LSU, but I think there's still enough there. I'm really intrigued by Omaha. And then with South Dakota
well,
State. Brian Peterson takes over the program. They got six of their top seven guys back. I think the Jackrabbits will be right there battling as well. And then quick dark horse pick for you.
go for it.
And I don't think anybody, at least in the analytic world, has them. I think they're like 340th right now. But University of Denver.
oh no, no,
Wow,
no.
I did not see you go. I did not see you going here. I was going to go
They burned us
Yotes, but
too
go
many
ahead.
times, Rocco.
I know, but you gotta hear me out real quick.
All right.
You've got you've got Tim Bergstrasser coming over from Minnesota State Mankato. He's bringing four of his starters with him. So it's a little bit of a mini Drake situation from last year. Carson Johnson, I think, was either the MVP of that league or certainly all conference. Carson Johnson's here to run the show. He's got his guy that in Zane Nelson that averaged 15.5 and Logan Kinsey averaged 15. So I think Denver is going to be ready to roll from, they're playing Washington the first week. So I'm excited to see this team because I think a lot of these Division two to Division one guys have been ready to go like from the first year. I think Denver can crack the top five in the Summit League.
All right.
One more thought about Omaha. Great story last year. The WWF style beating the crap out of a trash can j just went viral, and looking forward to seeing that again.
Where are we? Griggs, Sun Belt. Not only does it have the crazy Stairway to Seven conference tournament format, you can find the conference tournaments up there on the top of the page.
Yeah.
I think
Stairway to
it's a wide
seven.
open league. It could be a wide open league this year.
It was a wide open league last year, and with that extension ladder format, it made we did not anticipate this, or at least I didn't think about this when we saw the bracket. It was just like, my God, what an insane concept. But we were watching. I mean, it was so log jammed that every week it felt like you had these high stakes pivotal games because it meant not just where you were in the standings, meant did you get one or two buys, and what was it, two or three games separating eight teams at the end or something crazy?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Which is
I,
the whole joke of the bracket, right? Like
yeah,
if you lose the third tiebreaker, then you have to play 2 extra days early.
yeah,
Like, what are we doing?
yeah,
What are we doing?
and
But otherwise, it's been very successful on Twitter. So I guess we'll take the extra likes and retweets.
yeah.
Yeah.
James Madison, the favorite. Arkansas State, another good team. They had some really big wins last year. I like South Alabama this year. I always say I like Troy. They're one of those teams I continue to pick and probably overestimate. I like them again. What about Marshall? Even
Yeah,
yeah,
good team.
yeah.
Well,
App State, yeah,
you even mentioned
App
Old
State.
Dominion. I think Robert Davis Jr. might be the league's best player, and I'm looking at them
yeah,
too. And that's a program that's been getting better every year.
yeah.
Rock,
I love this league.
Rocco, who do you got out of this chaos of the Sun Belt?
I have Arkansas State because I've been
Good pick.
studying Ryan Pannone for a few years. I got to cover him closely at the regionals with Titel in LA when he was kind of the brainchild behind their comeback to beat North Carolina in that awesome 4-1 upset. And then of course he made some adjustments in the Clemson win as well. And this guy, if you study him, he's coached all over the world. He's learned from tons of pro leagues, tons of levels of basketball. He's just a consummate learner, and he's still only 40 years old. They're going to do a lot of the concepts that Alabama did, much like the previous Arkansas State coach. Uh, Tons of threes and tons of shots at the rim, no mid-range shots. So they're basically like the opposite of Old Dominion, who loves mid-range shots and getting to the free throw line and playing bully ball. So I just love all the different styles. There's a lot of good coaches now in the league, including him. Arkansas State will be my pick, but I'll quickly mention I did go attend an Appalachian State practice. Dustin Curry's an unbelievable coach. I think they'll be back towards the top again. And I saw Georgia State practice. There's some exciting improvements there.
Really? Hmm.
I don't know how high to pick them. Certain things have to break for them, but Ja'Kai Newton they got from Indiana. If he gets back to 100% healthy, he certainly should be a first team All Sun Belt player.
Last of our regular conferences here, Rocco. Let me stick with you in the swan song for the WAC as we know it, down to
Yeah.
only 7 teams. We'll be merging with bunch of members of the ASUN to create the new United UAW
Athletic
conference,
conference.
whatever, next year. But uh, what do you like in the WAC this season?
I like playing every team in your league 3 times, Chad.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome, triple round robin.
That's what I like. So,
It means none of them can be till the final four either. Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
well, what it guarantees us, Chad, is no matter who plays who in the WAC tournament, it's going to be round four.
Yes.
So, that's beautiful. Outside of that, I was actually pretty surprised to see the poll come in with Cal Baptist number one. I thought, in my mind at least, Utah Valley is kind of the clear team to beat. They've established that. Just, no drop off from Madsen to Phillips in the coaching side of things. They've kept the program going in the right direction. They have a lot of solid returners. So the Wolverines are definitely my pick. But I think I'm intrigued by Abilene Christian's
Yes.
continuity. Excited to see them down in Jacksonville in a few weeks. And then I think yeah, Cal Baptist has the best player for sure with Dominic Daniels, but it's another team that just to me over the years has never been able to put a consistent defense together.
Yeah, and Abilene Christian, a couple of key players back from last year's team that started out horrible, but
Yeah,
they were came on strong at the end of the season.
they
They
did.
did.
Yeah.
They did.
Greg's your thoughts?
Um, I've as far as like the teams go this year, I agree with Rocco about Utah Valley. Although, I mean, I can kind of see Cal Baptist while they would favor them, but what a unique way for the WAC to go out. And just a final thought on the league. This is a league with a lot of history, especially on the basketball side. I kind of hate that it's going away as we know it. Although now its current format is nothing like it was, but once upon a time, this was a major league. It was, we didn't call them protected seeds at the time, but I mean, they generated that level of play. It was a multi-bid league. The current Mountain West split off from the WAC. At one time, it was merged. So a lot of kind of college basketball history that feels like it's coming to an end, or at least moving to the UAC. You kind of hate that. I've always liked the WAC. Always have.
Let's go really, really quick here. As you watch our Under the Radar shows through this season, we're going to be updating our mythical conferences, which are up there. Just to remind you all who we've got to be following this year, we're going to be following the Front Range
Front
Conference.
range, yeah, and that
We're
Denver team that Rocco likes.
we're also going to be
Let's
following
go.
Denver, the pick for the Front Range there. The Beehive Conference. I guess
Yeah,
Utah Valley. We just discussed them. They must be our pick out here. We'll be following our Back Range Conference. We think we discussed some New Mexico State earlier.
yeah,
Obviously, the Lopes in there too.
And they're all
Uh,
going to the Mountain West next year. How about
mhm.
that?
yeah.
Uh, yeah, how about that top range conference? Already got the Idaho Washington State game circled there for some reason. Don't
Woohoo! Yeah,
but
big
As
very
you
conference
should.
opener. Yeah,
conference opener there, and of course we'll be following the Conference of Champions. I mean, this is a bit of a crazy league to put together. I don't know how these
yeah,
things are played, but
right.
on that note, I did not vote, but the two of you sent me under the radar top 10 ballots. We're going to be doing these all season as well. These are our top 10 teams heading into the season among all these under the radars. Honorable mentions in Miami of Ohio, Illinois State, McNeese, Hawaii, UNC Wilmington, Chattanooga. But
All
number
right.
10, New Mexico
Ooh,
State.
yeah.
Whoa.
Coming in high there for New Mexico State, thanks to Griggs.
Wow.
And number 9, Bradley.
Okay.
And
We'll
number 8,
see them on, we'll see them on Monday.
UC
Yeah.
Santa Barbara at number 8. Number
Fair
7,
enough.
Belmont, the Bruins. Big team out of the
Okay.
Missouri Valley. We talked a bunch about them.
I may have overvalued New Mexico State. Towson like them. Yeah,
1006. At number 5, how about Yale?
There we go.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Yale's a
yeah.
safe pick. At least you need
Yeah,
a
I
safety
like that
pick there.
Yale team a lot.
High Point at
High
number
Point,
4.
yeah. Talked about them being one of the Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa, who Griggs also highly valued, coming in there at number 3. Number
No
2,
pressure, Panthers. No pressure.
oh, it
Yeah,
was Liberty coming in at number 2. And at number
Oh,
we
1,
it's obvious. The Eaters.
UC San Diego. Oh
Yeah.
no.
UC Irvine. That's it for the show. Let's run through any quick final thoughts here. Rocco, let me start with you.
Murray State's a team we didn't touch on in the Valley section. I just think that if it all clicks there, there's so many unknowns, but they clearly invested more than anybody in the Valley, anybody in under the radar, in my opinion. I don't have a survey to send out, or I don't know if anybody would answer it honestly anyway. But I do think Murray State invested more than any under radar team. They have a French pro, Damone, who tore it up in the FIBA U19. I watched some of his clips. They won at Xavier in the exhibition. Looked phenomenal. Frederick King played quite a bit over the last 3 years at Creighton. They've got high major talent all over the roster, and they're going to play an NBA style under Ryan Miller, much like Creighton did. I think if Murray State can somehow get it rolling, they might run the Valley and run our top 10. If not, they're going to get kind of lost, and it's going to be disjointed Legos, as Griggs would say. But I think Murray State might be the most interesting team in under the radar.
Oh, nice pick there. Griggs, you want to finish things off here?
Yeah, I don't. Well, we'll see how the season plays out, but I don't really like to think of basketball as a plug and play sport. I always thought that it was more of a sport that you built on and you developed your talent. And It's certainly become more plug and play now with the transfer heavy NIL era that we're in. I don't know if it'll be like this forever, but it's going to be like this for the foreseeable future. And as someone that loves the under the radar schools and the conferences, one of the exciting things about it in the past was seeing programs sort of build their talent. I feel like we've kind of been robbed of that a little bit because it's more about plug and play now than it is about building. It's like you get a fantasy roster every year, and a lot of key players, a lot of good players, and a lot of good teams that are under the radar don't stick around. They get poached or whatever you want to say. And like last year, there was nobody inside the bubble. There was nobody that really got close to the top 25 other than Drake. I guess Drake was inside the bubble, but I kind of
UC's
feel
rated.
that one of
Yeah.
the more exciting parts of college basketball was seeing top 40 and top 50 level teams from the under the radar conferences, and there just aren't any anymore.
Yeah, there aren't. It's a shame. Maybe. Oh,
There's
well, we'll
always
see what
hope.
we'll see how the season plays out.
Yeah,
We
we'll see
love
how it
these
plays out.
teams.
We
It's
do.
why we just spent the last 22 hours going through these 22 conferences. But
Yeah.
real quick, on behalf of Rocco Miller, check him out at Bracketeer.org. David Griggs, I'm Chad Sherwood. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back. Our last preseason preview coming up Sunday night with our preseason bracketology, and I think in 2 weeks from now, our first under the radar show of the season. Talk to you again real soon.